technical difficulties here in just a moment. All right, so let's go ahead and continue talking about this top story here in Dallas. We'll get into it here in just a moment. Here, just give us a couple of seconds here. So here we go. So here we go. Dallas, Texas. Women Hutchins High School student, Women Hutchins High School basketball player Troy Casey was beaten to death during a street fight in southern Dallas neighborhood in March. Now, more than a year later, Dallas police have arrested another basketball player from a rival high school and have charged him with murder. The victim's mother says while she's happy an arrest has been made, she believes at least one other student and even more some adults also need to be held accountable for the death of her son. Dallas police arrested 19-year-old Jonathan Turner at James Madison High School Monday and charged him with murder of his basketball rival, Troy Casey. Police said Casey and Turner began arguing over a video game and began fighting at the 6300 block of Cinnamon Drive on March 23rd. Witnesses originally reported that said Casey and Turner were fighting. A punch dropped Casey to the pavement, where he struck his head and later died. According to police witnesses, statements began to conflict with Casey's observed injuries on Monday. Turner was arrested. Casey's mother, Tammy Simpson, said she knew from the beginning that the individuals involved were hiding the truth. And the story they were telling, it was too rehearsed. It was too incomplete, Sampson said. They were leaving out key details, and from what they were telling and what I know, there were two separate stories. Turner is the rival basketball player of Casey's playing at Madison High School, where he was the star player and two considered to the state championship teams. The past 2 years, a video posted on YouTube shows that the two players facing off at a game on January 18th. Simpson said she believes other adults live in the home where the fight started, and neighborhood witnesses play a role in her son's death. And several adults to be be charged with covering up her son's murder. And I quote, "I want complete justice for everyone involved in the murder and the cover-up of Troy Casey's murder," Simpson said. "From the adults to anyone else involved who knows what happened and didn't tell the truth. Simpson believes at least one or other teenager was involved in the fight and will be charged with murder. She feels the adult witnesses should have been called for help sooner, and that her son should be still alive." Detectives continue to investigate. They're asking anyone with additional details about the crime called Homicide Division at 214-671-3661. That's once again 214-671-3661. For more, go to WFA.com. You know, folks, I am very much familiar with these two sports schools named James Madison and Wilmer Hutchins School. I was passed there by James Madison High School all the time. We had an incident happen in case involving a football player and a wide receiver with a teenage girl, which I'm not going to discuss too much details. But her son gets beaten up to death by another teenager. Now, this is not the first time this has been reported here live on YouTube.com. But this woman wants justice for her son and any adults. Like I said, I'll give you the number one more time for the announcement right there. Call 214-671-3661. That's 214-671-3661. Presented by Nina Locksmith. We can help. Call for an appointment. Locksmith from Plano. 469-424-3430. Get $25 off any reeking job. And tell us you saw us on WFA. Call 469-424-3439. That's 469-424-3439. Or for more, go to locksmithforplano.com. You know, folks, we had these incidents happen before involving high school athletes. And This to me seems kind of a weird situation. Time is 2:41. Let's go ahead and talk some sports, shall we? So, now we got some breaking news. And this is something that stands on all of us. But now we got some breaking news here. Presented by the Subway Avocado at Ranch. Creamy avocado to any sub like the Subway Club. More, go to Subway.com, the official training restaurant of Mike Trout. So now we're learning some more information here from the Warriors coach. Apparently, as we say, he now, I'm not for sure what really happened. We'll talk about it here in just a moment. After the season was over, looks like we have some announcement to talk about today, Tuesday, May 6th, year 2014. Okay, here we go. The Golden State Warriors have fired coach Mark Jackson. The team announced Tuesday the move comes after the Warriors were eliminated in the opening round of the playoffs, falling to the Clippers in Game 7 on Saturday night. Golden State went 51-31 in their regular season. The Warriors were 121 won Jackson's 3-year 10 in the statement. Mark has completed his 3 years with the organization, including his role in helping evaluate this team into a better position than it was when he arrived nearly 36 months ago. We appreciated of his discretion and commitment since his arrival, and are extremely grateful for his contributions. However, as an organization, we simply feel it's the best to move in a different direction at this time. Added CEO Joe Lacob, Mark Jackson has a big impact on the improvement of our team and the success that we had over the last couple of years. Nonetheless, we must make some difficult decisions in our day-to-day operations of the club. And this will certainly qualify as one of those examples. We wish Mark the best of luck in his futures endeavors and thank him for his contributions over the last 3 years. So that means our own former colleague from ESPN Network is no longer going to be coaching the Golden State Warriors in Oakland, California. So this is something that very much is kind of an odd opportunity here. Where do we stand on this issue? I mean, where are the Golden State Warriors going to look now as coaches? I mean, I don't know who's going to coach this team right now. We have to talk about it sometime during this off-season. We definitely will talk about sometime this off-season here. Sometime during this off-season here, 2014. As the NBA pretty much is over for every single team. I'm talking about the teams that did not improve well. Once again, we'll get into that in just a moment. But clearly now it's been a little opportunity here given to where we stand. Now, obviously, I'm not for sure what really happened. Was this the right idea? I'm not so sure. We're not have it, but this is the breaking news we got for so far here today, Tuesday, May 6th, year 2014. So, obviously, to me, as you may see here, it really does not get us a point of view, and obviously it doesn't get us in any issue around the world about it so far. But obviously, right now, as we said, this is a difficult situation. Let's just say that right now. And there's nothing else to really talk about now because the Warriors, goodness, this was the best NBA team during last season. And now, where I'm getting at, they are struggling. They are very much struggling. This is something that I really can say right now for anyone else around the NBA. What's going to happen with these teams now? I'm not so sure what's internally going to happen. We'll just have to figure it out some way ourselves here, obviously. And once we get to that idea right now, it really doesn't stand any forward. Well, there's really not too much to talk about really, but very much disappoints us at some point because now what are your plans to do? What are you planning to do now in the NBA? Well, there really isn't too much to tell now. But obviously, like I said, right now, this is a series of situations where we all stand. And I couldn't say it better for myself or anyone else. Now, during this, beginning pretty soon during the off season, um, you know, these are issues, folks, that very much affect us in a bad way. And I'm not just saying that for anyone else, but I'm saying it for the majority of people. Our next top story involves a boy being bullied at school in Chicago, Illinois. We'll talk about that here in just a moment here. Time is or this is presented by the new Call of Duty Events with available now June 4th, 2060. PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Official sponsor. Folks, this is something we talked about lots of times. Where it really, and this is not the first time this has happened. We got a few more hours counting down to the NFL draft. We'll talk about that here. This is involving a 9-year-old student in Chicago, Illinois. What really happened? I'm not so sure. We'll get that here in just a moment. Unleash Mother's Day Smiles, a doggable collections from 1-800-Flowers.com. That's right, 1-800-Flowers.com. Save $25 off on Mother's Day plans. My mother has the green thumb. For more, 1-800-Flowers.com. Click on the mic, enter ESPN Radio, and call 1-800-Flowers of the NFL. So here we go. Chicago Bears Pro Bowl guard Kyle Long spent part of the weekend making it good on a pledge he made to support a 9-year-old Huntley, Illinois resident, Andrew Oyster, who has to endure taunts from elementary school kids on the bus and the classroom because of his weight for the close to 3 years, according to his father. Apart from the fact that they are really big Bears fans, just seem like really good people. Long told ESPN.com on Monday you can only do and say so much and try to help your kid. But at a certain point, you turn your child over to the school, and for the most of the day, you just hope things go smooth. Andrew's really a nice kid, smart, and an energetic kid with any place, and there's always going to be some bad apples that make things not go as well as you would like. And I quote, as somebody didn't have the best elementary and middle school experience, I can relate to what Andrew is going through. The bullying got so bad, said Andrew's father, Frank, and Andrew has to change schools. Frank Oyston, who continues to search for ways to help his disappointed son, has addressed the issue with the principal at Andrew's new school. And it had reached the point where Andrew couldn't handle it anymore. Oyston told ESPNChicago.com on Monday he didn't know what to do. He didn't want to talk to anybody. The principal got involved, and he obviously wasn't happy with it. But something has to happen because this wasn't stopping. And I quote, as a parent, You want to do so much more in these situations, but really can't so. So I thought maybe I could get somebody else involved. And next somebody turned out to be Long, the Bears' 2013 first round draft choice. Oyster reached out to Long, an active participant on social media on Twitter, to see if he would help restore his son's confidence. Long's response was immediately, "I'll ride the bus with him." It was shock. I was shocked he got back to me so quick, Oyster said. I sent the first tweet, said I have a favor to ask of you because my son's being bullied on the bus. And right after I sent, then I started typing another tweet asking Kyle if he could just talk to Andrew. And before I could hit send, Kyle has already gotten back to me saying he will ride the bus. And that's how fast it was. Amazing. And it proved to an impersonal for Long to show up the fourth grader school or ride the bus with him. And his side spent several weeks trying to pin down a time with Andrew and Long could speak face to face once the 6', 313-pound offensive lineman returned to the Chicago area from his off-season home in California. Initially, I just saw a dad that was the tough spot with the kid, and I was obviously going through some things Long said Monday. As somebody didn't have the best elementary and middle school experience, I can relate a lot to what Andrew is going through. I didn't know his specific situation. Riding on the bus was the deal of the kind on the bus was kind of the through tough for me as well as a child. I wanted to jump on this as soon as I could. We took about a couple of months for everything to come to a fruition and for me to meet the kid. But it was worth it. It was good for both of us. The long-awaited meeting occurred Saturday at Chuck E. Cheese in Crystal Lake, Illinois, where the Oysters were celebrating their daughter, Riley's 8th birthday. "Thanks for letting me come hang with the great kid," tweeted Long, who included a tweet pic. And here he goes. And that doesn't play with him. We had a great day. And this is in Crystal Lake, Illinois. He wanted to spend a day with the family and asked about Saturday Oyster, and we told him it was our daughter's birthday at our daughter's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. He was more than welcome to come. He told us it was fine. And he was totally down for some Chuck E. Cheese. Andrew didn't know too much about Kyle Long at first. Obviously, we told him and he didn't believe us. It was a couple of days for it to sink that somebody from the Bears was coming to talk to him. And he started reading up on Kyle's background. And he was very excited to learn about Kyle on Saturday. He was nervous. Long did not disappoint at the party. Kyle was amazing with the kids, Oyster said. He was playing games with all of them, following them around. He took pictures with my daughter. And Andrew even held our 60-month son. It was really amazing. He came back to the house for a little bit after the party, signed some pictures, and he even asked the kids if they wanted to go outside in the backyard and throw the football around. And that was the kids' favorite part. Playing catch with Kyle, running around and throwing the football with him, and the kids thought that was just amazing. All day yesterday, my kids were outside playing catch and pretending they were Kyle Long. Long called Andrew's sister a firecracker. I'm surprised she doesn't stand up and beat up all the bullies. She's a tough little girl, he said. There was no point in time when we sat down and had a serious conversation, Long said of Andrew. He just needed somebody to hang out with, and we have a strong male presence, like an older brother type deal. And if that's the role, that's the need to be played. I had no problem with that. He's a really great kid. And it's always fun to have a little brother, Long said, adding that absolutely will stay in touch with the family. You know, folks, this sometimes does surprise me, though. 9-year-old kid. getting bullied on the bus. And we always had it happen. I remember when I was at that age at 9 years old, I always got picked on because of my weight. Heck, I got offensive names called I couldn't even remember myself. But for me as a DISD student here in Dallas, Texas, it was really hard for me. Because I got bullied by a bunch of kids. I couldn't defend myself for them because I had no idea what I was going through. And for this poor kid to get bullied on the bus is something that we would not tolerate. Now I've seen these bully ads campaigns on YouTube.com. A lot of times kids do take it very much easily the hard way. They do not deserve to get bullied, I'll tell you that right now. I've been bullied all my life when I was in elementary. When I got to the first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and sixth grade, I was still being bullied around. And when I got to middle school, I was still being bullied around. Through the 8th grade, I was still bullying around. Through the 9th grade, Molina High School, I was also bullying around. Through the 10th grade, through the 11th grade, I was still bullying around. Once I hit the senior year, everyone stopped bothering me at that time. But let me tell you something, students. Do not let anyone bully you because of your weight. Because if you wear glasses, because of the way you talk, because of the way you read, do not let them offend you, people. You need to stand up to yourself and say, look, I will not tolerate you to be bullying me here at the school. Or on the bus or anywhere around, anywhere. And for the fact is, I hate bullies. I'll tell you that right now, North Texas. I hate bullies. And I would just hate to see an innocent child get bullied by anyone here in North Texas. That I would truly hate to see it happen. And for this poor young man named Andrew, I truly do feel sad for you, buddy. I hope you do not get picked on the bus. And I'm glad his parents moved to another school. But the principal at his old school, he shouldn't have done something. He shouldn't have gotten involved with the oysters and said, look, we're not going to tolerate anyone to be bullying you on the bus. But technically, I also blame the bus driver because the bus driver didn't do nothing about it. I'm guessing the bus driver allowed it to continue to happen to him. How can you let your own child ride the school bus every morning if you're going to get picked on, if you're going to get bullied on, if you're going to get punched at by fist to fist? Things are going to get worse for people. And to this poor young man nowadays, I'm very much surprised that an NFL player spent time with him like if he was his little brother. I truly do. And for Andrew out there, I hope Andrew is doing well at school. Stay in school, Andrew. If you get bullied, buddy, you let Kyle Long know him again, man. Follow him on Twitter, as always. This is something that's been overcome to anyone here around the globe. This is not the first time North Texas has happened before in decades, but as it turns out to be, this is the first time it's happened before. And clearly to me, that principal shouldn't have done something, but gladly, it's not keeping up as we speak. So, where do we stand from here? I'm not so sure. I really am not so sure what's going to happen. The only way we can have this issue happen is if, like I said, it stands on every single one of us, folks. It truly does. And I would just hate to see at any point and anywhere time soon to see this happen again. This is not fair for these kids to get bullied. Myself as a bully, I very much hate that to see it happen. I truly do. You know, as it may seem to me, guys, this is something that stands on all of us, obviously, and I couldn't speak any more less for any one of us right now because this is something that kind of does surprise me now, and very much to me, this is an issue that points to every single one of us at some point. because really, uh, this is something that stands on overall, and you really you really can't seem that to continue to happen, folks. You just can't. So this is something that surprises me anywhere else. But before we get into that, let's talk. I'm guessing some off season now with number 41, and then we'll talk more about Johnny Manziel. Where do we stand on him here in just a moment? Um, but getting to the point, presented by Large Pizza, cheese sticks or dessert. The Texas Rangers double play for $16. Enter promo code PBJ double play. Order now, Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's, official sponsor of the Texas Rangers. And Dallas, Texas. Dirk Nowitzki insists he hasn't put much thought into what the numbers will look like on his next contract. He just knows he'll get a deal done to stay in Dallas, and the only NBA team he'll ever know. I have no idea, honestly, what it will be right now, Nowitzki said. I haven't really thought about it since we just lost Game 7. That's the brutal thing about Game 7. When you win, you move on the next round. When you lose, the season is over the next day. Haven't really put much thought into it. But like I said, Johnny Nelson and Mark Cuban, we're talking to. And planning this summer, we'll figure out something out. Nowitzki visibly committed his last summer, resigning a 2-year or 3-year deal and significantly reduced salary after his 4-year deal over $80 million contract expires this summer. He has never been publicly discussed specifics about significant that the pay cut could be there. Has been a percentage set to by his future and Hall of Fame power or peers. Kevin Garnett signed a 3-year, $36 million contract with the Boston Celtics in 2012. Tim Duncan signed a 3-year deal with $30 million with the San Antonio Spurs that summer. Obviously, Dirk is not going anywhere, Nelson said. He's built this franchise. He has been with us from day one, and certainly there's negotiations to take place. But he loves the city, and he wants to call it his home. We're certainly recuperated those feelings, and so our hope is that we'll get something done that's not the only in Dirk's best, but it also affects the feasibility of the future of the Mavericks. It's a pretty safe guess that the big German, who has made more than $200 million during his career, will end up signing a deal somewhere else, the Duncan and Garnett range. We want to get better as a team, Nowitzki said. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to sign Kobe's deal, unfortunately. Nowitzki left knowing there is no way he could sign a 2-year deal or $0.85 million deal and expect the match for an office to upgrade the roster. We'll find a good week where I feel respected, and for what I did, we still have enough money left for us to get great players in here, Nowitzki said. Cubbies have been great to me. QB's has been great to me and has been loyal to me for a long time. I'm sure we're going to find a great solution for everybody. You know, not to speculate too much right now, but obviously this isn't something I will gladly want to say doing anything else about it. But, I mean, you clearly see where this man is going to go. You know, I'm not so sure what's going to happen with Montana Ellis. And Melo is going to be something else for now, because really, what's going to happen? You know, the Mavericks season was never over. But is he pretty much done here? No. He's going to be done, because he ain't got nothing left in the tank. I mean, this guy has played a long time here in Dallas, Texas, since, 1998. When Michael Jordan played that last final game against the Utah Jazz, the Western Conference team versus the East. And that year, my goodness, Chicago Bulls They beat Utah Jazz in Game 6. I remember that game. Watched it that day. Michael Jordan out of nowhere just spurred out for bam, 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 bam. Dunking them, putting them threes inside the paint. I'll never forget that. As a young man in 1998, which is a great year, by the way. So will Shawn Marion return to the Mavs? Not so sure. Now this is something, folks, that clearly stands on you what really happens. So his contract is pretty much going to make him a free agent on July 1st. The team down 30 with 5.7 left on the clock. Marion has snubbed out of the game and potentially making his final time in the Dallas uniform. Marion scored just 5 points and pulled down 3 rebounds just over 20 minutes of the action of Game 7 loss to the San Antonio Spurs. Well, free agency creates a lot of opportunities. Marion isn't ready to shut down the door on staying a Maverick. I would, Marion said when asked if he would like to return, I'm weighing my options. Marion's market might not be strong. Teams such as the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Miami Heat will clearly see a value in adding his visibility in their rotations. The Mavs could outbid those contenders, but it wasn't clear how much of financial commitment they are willing to make Marion. So Marion, defensive weapon, will be 36 years old when 2014-2015 season begins. Whether Mark Cuban or Rick Carlisle or whoever you will pick, whoever you ask, everyone in the organization appreciates what Mark Cuban has done in his time. For the organization, it was an instrumental team winning the first NBA championship back in 2011, as he likes to defend of Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James. If they decide to go with someone else, the Mavs can look at throwing their cap space at New York Knicks star Carmelo Anthony, being realistic if they choose to go with more than Marion's replacement. Look at the Cleveland Cavaliers forward Luol Deng and Washington's forward Trevor Ariza as options. While Marion wants to return to Dallas, there is still a lot of that could happen between now and July 1st. It will have to begin their conversations, which hasn't formally happened yet. No, we haven't talked about that stuff yet, Marion said. We got a while until July 1st, and I'm going to relax for a little while. While it's assuming that Dirk Nowitzki will resign with Dallas, the status of other remaining member of 2011 championship roster remains up in the air. From the Dallas Mavericks for now, folks, how much you going to offer Carmelo Anthony? How much you going to offer Luol Deng and Trevor Ariza? How much you going to offer these guys? Because these guys, they're not going to want to take a small contract here, folks. They're going to want to take a large contract. I'm wondering, how much is Mark Cuban going to offer these guys? How much? You got into July 1st here, which is not too far away. We're in the month of May. So I'm guessing probably like about May 31st, year 2014 of this month. We will find out until July 1st, which is not too far away. Once we get to July 1st, we will talk about, okay, this is going on now. We're learning more information about Carmelo Anthony. Might not want to come to Dallas, or maybe he might. But I keep hearing from sources out there, he might go to Chicago, from what I keep hearing, to go play with the Chicago Bulls next season. I'm not so sure that's going to happen. If they're realistic right now, would they want to choose? Will a lot of her family want to move down here to Dallas, Texas? That's my point. Will she like to move down here and become a Dallas Cowboy fan, a Texas Rangers baseball team fan, a Longhorns fan, or something, you know? I don't know how the Mariners are going to manage to get these guys, but the only guy they need back here in this team, I'm going to name him one more time, is Tyson Chandler. They're going to need Tyson Chandler back because this team is not the same without Tyson Chandler and Jet. Now, if the Jason Terry kid decided to stay with Brooklyn next season with his former head coach and ex-teammate Jason Kidd, then kudos to Jason Terry. Now, I don't think LeBron James is not going to stay with the Miami Heat. I think he's going to go back to Cleveland. The Cleveland fans have no other options but to take him back in Cleveland, Ohio. They're going to have to give him that big old welcome back, number 23, LeBron James. They ain't got no choice but to welcome back number 6 to Cleveland, Ohio. So once you bring in back LeBron James, where does that leave Noel Dane and Trevor Ayas? I'm not sure. If Sean Marion does stay with the Dallas Mavericks or decides not to stay or decides that I'm going to retire because they're already 36 years old. He can retire right now if he wanted to right now if the season was over, but he can't retire just yet. So he got to wait until a couple of more months to go. Right now he's just going to relax at home because he spend time with the family and kids. And I'm going to give him credit. I'll give him credit for that. But right now, like I said once again here, folks, this isn't going to be easy right now for the Dallas Mavericks. I'm not so sure what they're going to be doing on forward right now. This is something that we'll have to be giving about it, and how well can we do it? How well can we figure it out so far? That's my point so far. So here we go with the QBs on forward right now with Johnny Football and the rest of these guys right now so far on forward. And it's going to sound a little bit ridiculous because you really don't know what's really going on at that time around forward. And obviously, you know, you got too much to think about here right now. Maybe, I'm not sure when they do go to Tony Romo. Now, what is Tony Romo down here today, Tuesday, 6th, 2014? Folks, for now, Tony Romo does not belong at the NFL. He does not belong with America's team, the Dallas Cowboys in Arlington, Texas, because Tony Romo, he's already getting old. He needs to go play in the NBA with Dirk and them. I think he's better playing the NBA if he can help the Dallas Mavericks here next season, 2015, which I hope he can. When that season gets there and the playoffs begin that day, again, on your local television networks and national television networks, and I will say on 2015, you know what? Tony Romo's better playing the basketball. More better playing in the NBA than being in the NFL. Let's get Johnny Manziel here, Johnny Football, if you wanted to call him Johnny Football. I think Johnny Football belongs to the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think Cleveland Browns are interested in him. Cleveland Browns just signed who? Vince Young, former Texas Longhorn guy from Austin, Texas, and also a native from North Texas also. So I'm guessing Cleveland Browns pretty much got their roster handled. Now it's up to the Cowboys here in Dallas and Fort Worth to figure out what do we plan to do here. I mean, really, what do you plan to do here with this guy? I'm thinking Tony Romo belongs playing in the NBA. Why not put Tony Romo in the NBA? Go sign him a good contract with Mark Cuban. Maybe Mark Cuban will take him. Why not? Tony Romo can't throw three-point shots. I see him do it when it was the March Madness tournament in Charlotte, South Carolina. When Duke, the Tar Heels, up in Charlotte, South Carolina. So there is no giving thought to this, folks. There is no giving thought to this at all, period. There is. You know? And clearly the way I say it right now, it doesn't sound so good, but obviously, you know, you pretty much got to think about it here, folks. This isn't going to be easy for neither of us. But I'm thinking if I'm the Dallas Cowboys right now, I very much want to go ahead and sign Johnny Manziel, which is Johnny Football. Johnny Football can play two types of sports. If he can play Major League Baseball and play in the NFL, why not put him with the Texas Rangers? I don't know about Tony Romo. Can Tony Romo play baseball? No. He'll probably mess up one RBI triple single into the right field where the ball goes at always at ballpark in Arlington. So no, you don't want to put Romo with that. You don't want to put him with the baseball team. You want to put him somewhere he can play. Put him in the NBA then. That's where I want Tony Romo anyway. Final days of 5-star safety-related spring Honda. The new 2014 Honda Accord EX for $199 a month. Click here for details and visit NorthTexasHondaDealers.com. That's NorthTexasHondaDealers.com. Alright, here we go. So I want you, the fans, to figure it out. And I quote, Is Tony Romo's back enough of a concern for the Dallas Cowboys that they take a flyer on the media circus that will come with drafting quarterback Johnny Manziel? Irving, Texas. Johnny Manziel is popularizing player in this draft, and so naturally, people believe he will end up with the Dallas Cowboys, the most penalizing team in the NFL. When the first round came out fast, ESPN Dallas writers take a roundtable look at what a union of the Cowboys and Manziel would mean. Tom Archer, let's make a huge assessment here that Manziel will be available at number 16 when the Cowboys pick in the first round. I asked this question, should the Cowboys pick up Texas A&M quarterback? We'll get to it. Will the Cowboys pick him in a second? My take is yes, the Cowboys should take him. I'm not even thinking about marketing opportunities and off-field stuff that Jerry Jones thinks about from a football standard point. I argue it would be a great value pick. There is no way the Green Bay Packers thought they would get Aaron Rodgers in the 2005 late in the first round, but it took them even when Brett Favre was playing well and Tony Romo was the 34th and coming off two back. He's 34 years old. Tony Romo, 34 years old, is coming off two back surgeries. I think he'll be fine and return to form. But what happens if he doesn't, or he takes a big hit in week 8 and he's down that for the year? Terry has always tried to find a quarterback on the cheap after Troy Aikman retired, and he never found a guy until Romo. And that was lucky. I think he'll be lucky again if Manziel was there at number 16. They got their own very corresponders. Kevin Watkins says, I don't believe the Cowboys should take him at number 1. I don't believe he'll fall to number 16 or even at the top of the 10. If he does fall to number 16, the Cowboys should either bypass him or trade him. This team has bigger holes to address, such as a secondary defensive line before quarterback. There are quarterbacks later, such as Aaron Murray from Georgia, who can be taken in the second round or third round. Yeah, I know Romo's coming out back surgery, and he's 34 years old, and all of that is a back injury, and you never know about backs. However, getting Manziel number 16 isn't worth it to me. You can find a good quarterback to groom in the later rounds. Tim McMahon, heck yes. If you can get a guy you feel is a franchise quarterback in the middle of the first round, you can do it, especially when the fate of your franchise rests on a 34-year-old quarterback that has been operated on the twice in the past year. This isn't about trying to run Romo out of town. It would be a chance to extend the window of having a Pro Bowler caliber quarterback another decade or so, an opportunity the Cowboys shouldn't pass up after navigating the Ricky bridge from Aikman to Romo. It wouldn't be complicated for a couple of years because of Romo's massive contract and the potential chemistry issues that Roger Staubach maintained. It would be well worth it for Manziel if Manziel can make plays in the NFL like he did in the SEC. Other one says, no. 8,000 times no. John Jock Tiger. This team has too many holes to draft a quarterback in the first round. To sit behind Romo for at least 3 years, that makes absolutely no sense. When Green Bay drafted Aaron Rodgers and let him sit, they were a contender. They can afford to do it. And there's a good chance Jason Garrett gets fired at the end of next season if he's not in the playoffs. Do you think he wants to take a first-round pick and stash him for the next coach? Heck no. This was the worst defense in the universe last year. Are you really going to miss out on a chance to draft a quarterback who may or may not be a star? Okay, let's move on to the second part of the question. Will the Cowboys take Manziel if he's there at number 16? I believe they would. We talked about how the Cowboys should draft a quarterback every year. So now when they can do it, we're going to say, no, not that guy. I don't think next the Cowboys quarterback will be developed by this team. In other words, a middle round pick who sits for a few years and takes over almost of all the top quarterbacks come from the first round, second round. The Cowboys would have Manziel ready to go without the burden of having to carry the franchise on. But carrying the franchise earning on, he has a skill, he has ability, he is a draw. I think it will be an equipment on the coaches to manage this thing. And the right way, because the second Romo throws a poor pass, fans will be calling for Manziel. You can operate that way. Say the Cowboys do take him, which I doubt. Can you imagine if Romo has a game? He has known to have them from time to time. Garrett will go under pressure to send Manziel into the game when he's not ready. Then if he does use Manziel, you got media fan circus. The Cowboys have ignored their type of drama from Terrell Owens, Pac-Man Jones, and Romo's own issues. Jerry Jones, how he runs the franchise along other things. But a quarterback drama isn't fun for anybody. Having Manziel around isn't fun. But if Jerry drafted him, he wouldn't care. It would be about the business of marketing and not the business of football. Well, these guys still got a point there, Dallas. Here's the next one. Well, hold on, excuse me here. Well, that might depend on who gets the last word in with GM Jerry. I can't imagine Garrett as the head coach fighting to keep his job as he enters the last season of his contract. Would it be thrilled with the idea of using a first-round pick on a guy who might be holding a clipboard and still drawing a media parody as a rookie? But Stephen Jones seems to be in war with Johnny Football. But his father is. I don't think Jerry could help himself and Manziel were available when the Cowboys are on the clock. A strong football agreement could be made for Manziel as a fit. It would be a home run for marketing department, and we all know the Cowboys GM cares about marketing almost as much as he does about football. Jerry Jones loves collecting boobies. We know this Des Bryant was a beauty. So was Terrell Owens. A Rocket Ismail. He loves any marketing aspect, and he added more cash to the family treasure trove. I can absolutely see Jerry using the force of his personality to persuade Garrett and Vice President Stephen Jones the right move to make is adding Johnny Football to the roster. Even he's going to sit for multiple seasons and wouldn't make an impact on the team unless Romo was hurt. Hey, at least the preseason games would be sold out. Another one says, I quote, let's be honest. He won't be there at number 16. He won't be there at number 16. And I think we all believe it will cost too much to trade up to get him. So who takes Manziel and why is he better fit than with the Cowboys? I'm going with Jacksonville. They need a quarterback. They need a draw, and it's probably not the most second football decision to think of that. But the Jaguars have no juice. Manziel will give them some juice. The Cowboys will see him at Wembley in November. Perfect. It's interesting. But when I read the Out Our Lands mock draft, it doesn't have Manziel going under number 26 to Cleveland. One of the top 10, I can see 6 teams taking him. I think Cleveland takes him at number 4. But you have to wonder about the weather and the AFC North. Manziel hasn't played in that on a regular basis in college. Can he produce in cold weather in Pittsburgh, in Baltimore, in November and December? Oakland sees ecological number 5. Matt Shaw started in 2014, and Manziel should be able to get his chance following the year. It's just not so easy place for him to go to Houston. I don't believe that. Thinks Manziel is better than number 2 defensive player. So I guess to answer this question, I think Cleveland takes him at number 4. I think the Browns take him at number 4, and the Browns have been searching for a franchise quarterback since cutting Brian Coaster as a drafting. Manziel will fire up a 4-bid rabid fan base desperately searching for a reason to be optimistic. And strange as it sounds, I also see Cleveland as a team that will give Manziel a chance to succeed early in his NFL career. Josh Gruden led the NFL in receiving yards as a 22-year-old quarterback, dispute dealing with the QB rotation and tight end Jordan Cameron is coming up for Pro Bowl season as a 25-year-old. The Browns have 2 Pro Bowl offensive linemen, left tackle Joe Thomas and center Alex Mack, who are in the prime, and Cleveland has addressed its need for a running back by signing Ben Tate. Adding electrifying quarterback, the Browns might actually have one of the NFL's most explosive offense. On the surface, Jacksonville should be intrigued by Johnny Football because they need a quarterback. They need someone to put butts in seats. They're going to be bad again, so they need a playmaker on offense. That said, Coach Gus Braley is a defensive line dude, so he'll probably go defense and take Buffalo linebacker Kahali Mack. That leaves Johnny Football to Cleveland. The Browns have a good young defense. They have a young star receiver Josh Gruden, which they need. What they need is a trigger man since 2002. The Browns have 10 different players leading them in passing, which is not a positive. If the star can project, Johnny Football will turn that franchise around. He'll own the city. I don't think Cleveland is going to get him because I did hear from sources earlier this week that Cleveland is not interested in him. Oakland is not interested in Johnny Football. So Jacksonville is not interested in Johnny Football. So where do we go from here, Dallas? Well, let's see here. Obviously, to me, it's to be seen once again. Is it time for us to just say Johnny Football belongs for the Dallas Cowboys? I think the Cowboys do pick him up. I'm not going to say what's the reason, but the majority of 57% say yes, 43% say no. So that means 57% say yes. Thank you for voting on SportsNation.com. Johnny Football is 21 years old. Donald Romo is 34 years old. As a 34-year-old quarterback, Tony Romo needs to leave the football field. He needs to go play in the NBA court and putting points inside the paint. So you put him with Dirk Nowitzki, Carmelo Anthony, the well-named Trevor Ayasa, and Tyson Chandler. You have yourself a team here, Mark Cuban. Put Romo with Nowitzki. He'll put points in the paint. I'm thinking Tony Romo is better playing in the is more better playing in the NBA than playing on the NFL football. But let me tell you why, fans. Do you really want to see Tony Romo get hurt this coming up season in September? And week 1 versus the San Francisco 49ers on Fox 4? I don't think so. I don't want to see Tony Romo get hurt either. But the question is, Kyle Orton needs to leave the team. You need to get rid of Brandon Wheaton. Brandon Wheaton is not a good quarterback. I observed this kid a couple of years ago in Cleveland. He sucks. He truly does. Okay, don't get me wrong. But where do you put Johnny Football on this team? He's better. He is way, way better than any other quarterback. This kid can run the football. If the Cowboys can keep Johnny Football out of trouble, with the law, with the local law here in North Texas, we'll be fine. Okay? So yes, get Johnny Football. The Cowboys need him. The fans would like to see Johnny Football in the Dallas Cowboys uniform. Now you the fans, you want to see Tony Romo go play in the NBA, right? Well, who does? I do. Let's say, why not? We'll take a quick break here. Coming up next, here live on YouTube.com, we'll talk about another sad story here that happened in Cleveland, Texas. And this one sounds a very much sad story. This was involving, if I may add, an elderly person. Presented by word from Denver Sentinel Sun. Go to mahacity.com to visit their restaurants, local aquariums, and much more. We'll tell you what happened here with this story when we come back here live on YouTube.com. We'll be back next. Alright, welcome here live on YouTube. Time is 3:38. We might try Tuesday afternoon. Our next topic just a few moments. This involving an 82-year-old man. This happened in Cleveland, Texas. Uh, we're not so sure what really happened, but we'll get into that here in just a moment. So, here we go. Cleveland, Texas. An 82-year-old man was arrested in the murder of an 87-year-old woman found dead inside Cleveland home Monday morning. According to police authorities, received a call alerting them to a possible homicide late Monday morning. Responding officers discovered the body of Betty Bell inside a home located at the 1600 block of Spring Branch Drive. Samuel Alfred Bell was charged with her murder and booked at Johnson County Law Enforcement Center. Authorities didn't release the specific cause of the victim's death or her relation to the man arrested. An investigation into her death continues. This is something very much odd at some point, and clearly right now this is something that surprises me, as we say, not good at all. Not good at all, period. Because how in the world did you do this? I mean, this is very odd. So let's go ahead and talk some national news down here, and we'll talk some weather here in just a moment. Also, then we'll continue talking some sports also. Of course, here in just a moment also. So we got a lot of things to talk about. Our top now. Time is 3:40. Now temperature right now in Dallas, 86 degrees and mostly partly cloudy skies. So where does it leave us so far? Well, let's just say it's a little bit of issues going on forward here. So, where do we stand? Obviously, right? Where do we stand? So, let's see here. Okay, here we go. First, let's go to this one here. And then we'll talk about another one here. Another one here that's seriously helping issues here. But first, go ahead and talk about this one here. Woman 75 years old. There's our next international story. This one I'm about to talk about here in North Texas is kind of, let's say, terrifying. Oh, exactly the word terrifying. I'm not so sure what really happened, but let's go ahead and talk about it. This is another case that stands on everyone else. A bunch more here is published right here Tuesday, May 6. Cheyenne, Wyoming. An elderly Missouri woman on trial in Wyoming says she shot her husband in the mid-1970s to protect her toddler daughter. 75-year-old Alex Newdan of Chadwick, Missouri is charged with first-degree murder and the death of Roland Halls. Newdan testified Tuesday that she shot the 25-year-old at their home in Cheyenne. She says Holtz drove a taxi at night, became engaged when Newdan's 2-year-old daughter cried while he was trying to sleep. She says Holtz stormed into the girl's room and she shot him next to the crib. Prosecutors said Newdan shot her husband as she slept. Police arrested her and 71-year-old Gerard Newdan in September. Gerard Newdan has pleaded guilty to murdering his ex-wife and her 2 children in central Wyoming in 1980. Prosecutors haven't linked in these cases. Now, this is some type of weird case here on forward, folks, because how in the world does this woman shoot her ex-husband and then kills her when he was trying to attack her 2-year-old daughter, toddler? I mean, this is something weird. It obviously is, folks. I really don't get it. I really don't. I mean, how does this continue to happen? That's my story. I couldn't be any more specific in what's really going on. but this is something that stands on everyone. So here's our next one here. And this one is trial set for mom charged with trying to kill girl. We're not for sure where this happens. We're about to tell you here in just a moment. And it's 3:43. Unleash Mother's Day Smiles, a doggable collection. Shop now at 1-800-Flowers.com. It's 1-800-Flowers.com. Are you a safe driver? From Allstate. Is up in Bulla, Michigan. Get rewarded with 2 safe bonus driving checks a year. Visit Allstate.com. Bulla, Michigan. A judge has set a summary trial for a North Michigan woman accused of trying to kill her autistic daughter with carbon monoxide. But East County Judge James Batzer set the trial for July 16th, although the date could be changed depending on his docket. Khalid Stephenson is charged with attempted murder. She is accused of trying to kill herself and her 14-year-old daughter, Isabel, by integrating charcoal into grills inside a van last September. Stephenson has been found mentally fit to stand trial. There's another reporter in her state of mind at the time of the alleged crime, although her attorney is seeking another evaluation. Stephenson regularly wrote about the difficulties of raising an autistic daughter on the blog called The Status Quo. There is nothing wrong with this woman. She's obviously accused of killing her autistic daughter with carbon monoxide. What type of parent does this? I mean, really. She did not understand this little girl had autistic problems. She probably couldn't talk. Then tried to kill her and her 14-year-old daughter while ordering 2 charcoal grills inside a van last September. Now she's being arrested. And her trial is set for July 16th, year 2014, which is not too far away. You know, I really don't get it. What are these parents thinking? You have a story happened like that where in Houston, Texas, where a nurse poisoned her daughter's salt where she was trying to eat. I mean, really, parents, have you lost your minds? Clearly, I'm guessing you have. Because there is no way in the world this should have never happened. And you have to remember this case a couple of years ago, Monica Lewinsky. Well, apparently now we're going to talk about that here right now. This is something that happened a couple of years ago. This case is old, but unfortunately the woman is speaking now about it here, 2014. What took her so long to talk about this? We'll get into that here in just a moment. So here we go. A mom deserves it, but save $25 off on Mother's Day's early delivery. Shop now at 1-800-Flowers.com. For more, go to 1-800-Flowers.com. Washington, D.C. Monica Lewinsky says there is no question her boss, Bill Clinton, took advantage of her when he was president. But she says their affair was consensual, and if there was any abuse involved, it came forward and Clinton's inner circle tried to discredit her, and the president's opportunities used her as her political pawn. The former White House intern, now 40 years old, writes about her life in the next issue of Vanity Fair magazine out this month as released, and expects, she says, she perhaps the first internet era scapegoat wants to speak out on her behalf of the other victims of online humiliation. Considers they don't consider her husband's scandal from the late 1990s out of bounds, and they believe a 2016 style. Particularly Sean Paul, the Republican predatory behavior with a woman, Lewinsky, who was 22 her in when Clinton began in Clinton's lies relationship you in his him. She deeply regrets the affair and made a point of staying silent through several presidential campaigns. To avoid becoming a distraction now, she writes, "It's time to stop. Tiptoeing around my past and other people's futures, I am determined to have a different ending to my story. I decided to finally to stand above the print. This should go quite well because it didn't happen in real life. It does literally did happen. Um, he's a president back in the early 90s all the way to 1998. And all of a sudden, at that time in 1998, this woman was what, 22 years old, right? She was 22 years old. And there is no way about this issue going on forward. It really isn't. Evoking her hair wear. Well, hold on, we got a problem here. All right, here we go. You know, this is something, folks, that very much kind of just say kind of ridicates more the story issue, more as we speak. This isn't the first time this has happened. Let's just say that really, because to me, as it may seem, it's not the first time this has happened. Oh my, could you have to technical cancel? So obviously, as you may add, this is a serious situation here on forward with Miss. And clearly, right now, as we stand here today, and this is something that shouldn't have been happening. So she writes that invoking her hardware from indecently repeated TV clips and staining government consider as evidence against Clinton, she writes, "It's time to burn it and bury the blue dress." But these aren't her first public words on a scandal. Lewinsky broke her silence in 1999 with a blockbuster interview with Barbara Walters, gave several subsequent interviews, and cooperated with her author, Andrew Morton, on his book the same year entitled Monica's Story. "Sure, my boss took advantage of me," she writes now, "but I always remained firm on this point. It was a consensual relationship, and any abuse came in the aftermath when I was made a scapegoat in order to protect his powerful position." And I'm guessing this is like a couple of years ago she starts talking about this now. This is not the first time, folks, this has happened before. And I'm pretty much wondering what's really going on here. You know, what really stands on any of us on forward to remain not obviously, thinking about it. But what stands on me though is, what did she do? I mean, clearly there is something she was trying to do, because to me at this point, folks, this ain't the first time this has happened before. And it truly isn't the first time for any of us to be talking about this, but obviously there's got to be a weird problem about this so far on forward. So, if I may add, really, this is something that stands on every single one of us on forward, because you really don't know what's really going on at that time. You know? And to me, to hear this happen, this is kind of odd. I'll tell you that right now. This is very kind of odd and at the moment, because I just don't see how this happens. I truly don't just see this how this happens. Not so sure why did she try to do it. I have no idea. I really don't have no idea why she tried to do it. All I gotta say is, folks, this is a weird story at this point.